I'm gonna go ahead and kick this off. So, first of all, those of you who are on the live with us right now, appreciate you guys jumping in and spending time with us. We appreciate everybody that's been supporting us since the beginning. Welcome to the Friends with Benefits podcast. We're on episode 41 now. I'm Justin. This is Pansy. Welcome. How you doing, Pansy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm really excited about today's show. I've been really wanting to get these two guys on the show together for a while now, and we'll bring them up here in just a minute. But we titled this show the Real Estate Success Blueprint. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here. We'll see where it goes, but we're gonna touch on a lot of different topics here on today's show. But ultimately, it's about how to be successful in this game, and especially if you're new, what do you do to get up and running and start to see those wins, right? So that's important. And we've got two of the best people to talk about it. So I'm excited to bring them up. Um, I mean, Pansy and I have been at it for a while now. Um, I started off early on learning to wholesale because that's what you get told to do. And so I started learning to
Hey,
wholesale, right? How to win. It took me about a year to get my first deal, to be honest. It took me about a year. And we did pretty well. It took us about 3 months to get it closed, but made enough between the three of us we split it, made enough for me to go get my first investment property. And that kind of stopped there, right? And it kind of got held up there because I was starting to realize, especially after meeting Pansy, I was starting to realize like, hey, wholesaling is not really where my passion's at, right? So we kind of collectively decided, Pansy and I decided, like, what did we get into this game for? Did we get into this game to build a wholesale operation, or did we get into this game to start buying and owning properties, right? And that's not to dog, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dog wholesaling. Wholesaling, I'm very grateful for what I learned when doing it. But the rest is history. We got together, we started focusing on buying and holding and raising capital, and that's where our focus is. We're working with some folks in co-living right now, and that we're just hyper focused on that. We're gonna get good at that, and then we'll see where it goes. We've got our podcast where we get to have our really cool friends come on and talk about what they're doing and meet new people, and it's just been this year has been a blur at this point, but it's been really fun. So, anyway,
yeah.
without further ado, I'm going to bring up these two gentlemen, Mitch Roye and Richard Knowles. What's up, Mitch?
Good afternoon,
Hey.
Justin. How are you, my friend?
Good, 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 good. Thank you for jumping on. I do really appreciate it. I'm going to bring up Richard as well, but Mitch, just really quick before we get started, Mitch has been in this game for 25 years. Richard's been in this game now. Remind me, Richard, how long you been doing this for now?
Since I was a baby, man. Since I was a
Since
baby,
you're a
right at the
baby.
womb. Right at the womb.
This is in his blood.
That's it, probably blood. I would say since 2018, so about 7 years now.
Pretty
7 years.
good amount of time. Yeah, good amount
Yeah.
of time. Almost a decade at it now. And both these gentlemen have been very successful. And obviously it probably didn't start that way. I mean, maybe it did, but usually you got to start somewhere, right? And you got to make a bunch of mistakes and pay your dues, so to speak. So, but before we get into all that, for those who don't know you, Mitch, maybe give us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this world, and you know what you're focused on right now, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Perfect. Okay. Um, Nice to meet everybody. Glad you're here. Thank you. Grateful for the opportunity and got my brother Rich there. So that's phenomenal. I've been
Absolutely.
an investor full time for 25 years, background in single and multifamily development, ground up construction, fix and flips, cash flow. And then I joined the mentorship when it first started about 5.5 years ago. So that's what I've been doing. Prior to real estate investing, I was what's called a management consultant, basically a blue pinstripe suit. And I did strategic engineering and re-engineering for companies. And I was at a conference one day and one of my friends said, I do real estate. I'm like, what's that? And she said, oh, I buy houses. I'm like, really? That sounded pretty cool. So I hooked up with her and we started doing some deals. There was no wholesaling back then. We didn't know anything about it. It was just doing fix and flips.
Right.
And I got into it and then I met some other people and started doing more fix and flips. And then I think the turning point for me was really joining the mentorship and connecting with the amazing people in this mentorship and pace. And I probably learned more in these last 5.5 years than I had in the last 20 years. And not just about real estate, that's important, but it's about mindset. And Pace made an amazing post in his group today, which I would encourage everybody to see about mindset. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with that. And we'll talk more about that.
I love that. And mindset, I mean, there's a reason there's so many different podcasts, uh, content creators, successful, meanwhile, meaning I'm successful folks that are doing this that talk a lot about mindset because like as you get into this entrepreneurship, whether it's entrepreneurship just in general or real estate investing specifically, mindset is absolutely I don't know how you would put it, Rich, but I'd say it's probably like 80 to 90% of it, right? And maybe not 90%, but we'll go
But we
80,
don't always
85%.
understand what
Yeah.
that means,
Yeah.
though, mindset,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize what I was being told, change your mindset. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not making sense. It was pertaining to some vitamins and stuff like that. And well, I just thought that some people were more knowledgeable and I was trying to get them information, but ultimately they weren't necessarily more knowledgeable. So,
Mm,
but I mean, they weren't necessarily wrong about some of the mindset things, you
mm,
know, but they didn't exactly explain it very well either for me to understand what they meant about the mindset thing.
yeah.
They may not have understood it either. It
Yeah.
happens sometimes. So,
Well, to build off that just a little bit, and Rich, I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. But to build on that just a little bit, um, everybody's journey through this is different.
yeah.
Everyone's. And everybody's journey to reframing their mindset is different. And everybody kind of wants to frame it, or we can only really explain things based on our perception and our experiences, right? And that doesn't always resonate. It's not going to resonate with everybody, right? What your experience is and how you got to where you got to isn't always going to resonate with everybody. So it's difficult, but we know when we start to see success, and especially after we've done the work and we start to realize that success, most normal, good-hearted people want to see other people succeed too, especially the people around them want to see them succeed. And so how do we impart that wisdom, right? And so that's where we get into the mindset stuff, but it's so important. And I used to kind of poo-poo it early on. I really did. I'm like, I got the mindset I need. What do you mean? I'm already doing it. It's like, no, it's way deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's what
You
keeps
get
you
it. You
going.
think that I'm understanding this
Yeah,
and you're going along, but then you find something else.
that's right.
So,
It's
and
a
you have to
constant.
constantly, yeah, keep up with yourself that way.
So
So,
Rich, by the way, this is Rich's second time on the show, and I really appreciate you coming on here, man.
What's
It's
did
up,
Mitch
great.
even
Steve?
get to say anything? I think I butted in. You
No,
asked him something or whatever, and he started to speak about it. I don't even think he got to
yeah, you
say.
were you were talking earlier about someone who cuts people off and doesn't let them talk. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't know that I necessarily like just cut him off. I'm just saying it was kind of his turn, but I wanted to add and it went a little bit
Yeah.
different than
No, I
I,
think you
you
were
know.
good. You were good.
So but
Good.
Mitch, what if you even remember where we started here?
Well, he
I,
was,
I
yeah.
yeah, he asked
Go
me to
ahead.
introduce myself. I think I did that, and I'm going to switch it over to Rich to give an
Oh, I
introduction.
thought
Yeah.
on the mindset, didn't he ask you a specific question? And I kind of had like also wanted to include. So
Oh,
I
well,
apologize.
yeah.
That's
No,
what.
and you're right, Pansy. I had asked Mitch kind of where he puts the mindset. I kind of gauge it around 80 to 90% of it. I mean, it really, because if you don't have the mindset, you're not going to take the risks. You're not going to keep going when things get hard, which is what it's all about, right? It's what gets you past that. Those,
Okay.
Yeah, it's more about the mindset. I'll give you an example. I was in Sedona over Thanksgiving, and we went hiking. And there's a famous place called the Tunnel. It's this giant tunnel inside a mountain.
Mhm.
And to get there, it's almost a vertical climb. And I was looking at it, and I saw the people half my age on their hands and knees and struggling and falling down, and it was really scary. And I looked at my wife and I said, I'm going to be up there in 5 seconds. And I just literally, I ran up it in 5 seconds. And that's not to say I'm an athlete. It's just, it never even occurred to me that I couldn't do it in
Right.
fear. And I got
Right.
up there. And I think the same is true in life and with real
Yeah.
estate. The Pace Morbys of this world, they don't even think that they can't do it. Or the Richard Knowles of this world, they just know they can do it, and there's never a second thought. And I think not only is that important about doing deals, and I'm learning this, talking to sellers.
Oh
It's
yeah.
more about connecting with the emotions and solving problems than it
Yeah.
is the real estate. I look at it as, if someone's on fire, do they care if you come at them with a fire hose or a garden hose? They just
Doesn't
want the
matter.
fire and the pain done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good I like that actually. That's a really good analogy. Well, so and I think you're 100% right. And then Rich, again, thank you for jumping on, man. So let's give people a little bit of a breakdown for you as well. I know you said you've been in it for about 7 years.
Yep.
And you found success in your time. You joined. Now Mitch mentioned the mentorship. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about subject SubTo, Pace's mentorship. And if you don't know what SubTo is, go look it up, spelled SUBTO, SubTo. So if you're planning on getting into real estate investing, it's one of the best communities, if not the
We'll
best
have a
community out
link
there.
in the
Yeah, we will. But you should
description.
absolutely go check it out because it's more than just creative finance. It's really the whole gambit. And so we all got in there, and that's how we know each other. That's how we met each other. And so tell us, Rich, a little bit about you. I know, again, we talked about the 7 years in the business, but what got you into it to begin with? Like, how did you even decide to get into this game?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So before I got into real estate, I'm also a software engineer as well. So I went to college and grad school for computer engineering, and I worked for big companies like ESPN, Disney, NASA, Twitter, just to name a few, and made really good money. But I realized that it's active income and it's not building generational wealth for my family.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something that I can build wealth for my family, and I was on YouTube around 2016, 2017, and I came across some real estate videos, specifically Max Maxwell, talking about wholesaling and buying and holding properties and making great cash flow, and how it can help reduce your taxes as well. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. You can build cash flow, you can save on taxes, you can build generational wealth for your family. And I've always had some interest in real estate. I always loved, like, my parents drive me around, looking at the houses. I love looking at the houses. I love, that aspect of things. I'm more a visual person. Like, I like how, the interior design, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I watched that video, and then I read the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
And again, talking about mindset, my mindset shifted, once I read that book, as far as, my fears, my beliefs, and, assets versus liabilities, all that kind of stuff. And I decided to jump in, get into real estate. So 2018, I, started my LLC, which I still have to this day, and started, investing in real estate by doing private money lending, using my income from my, software engineering jobs, and partnering with fix and flippers, and learning more about fix and flipping and real estate and how the closing transactions work from A to B.
Yeah.
And it's going very, very well. And I realized that fix and flipping is kind of more active than passive.
Right.
So then I shifted over to Airbnb, which was very hot at the time, around 2018, 2019, doing arbitrage, and that was going very well as well until COVID hit in 2020, in March of 2020.
Yeah.
So I decided to pivot from Airbnb, and that's when I found Pace Movie, and that's how I found Sub2,
Love
which
it.
I still say to this day has been one of the greatest decisions I've ever made to
Yeah.
join that community. So number one is marrying my wife. Number two is joining Sub2. Like, that's how high it is up there. Top
Love
three.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So
No, and it's true. Now, I not to disparage anything, but Rich, you and Mitch, I think, what did you guys start around the same time?
Yeah, I think we
yes.
started, we were, I think, in the first 100 students, and
Yeah,
we both took over the Southern California region. We were the
love it.
leaders, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I'm bringing this up, I'm super jealous of you guys because you got in at the time when Now Pace still gives his time. He still is very dedicated to students, especially struggling students, and he helps people. He does it. It's what gives him energy. But to be in early like that, when Pace was doing those, what he would get on Zooms and it would just be all of you together. You would get all of his focus, all of his attention. Super jealous, but hey, it is what it is, and you guys did great with it, and I'm super happy for you guys for that. But I just know that I'm super jealous of both of you.
Well, back then he only had about 3 hours of Zoom calls. Now he has
Yeah.
4 million hours.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot. I mean, there's so much. That's part of the problem with sub two is there's so much. It's so easy to get distracted with everything. People get in there and I find that they're trying to keep up with pace and they're trying to focus on the next thing that pace is focusing on. And he even says like, guys, stop. You're not going to keep up with what we're doing in sub two. You need to focus on one thing and get good at it, right? Well, so Rich, what would you say? I'll ask this of you first, Rich, but what would you say? What was the most pivotal experience? If you had to think back of like your maybe top one or two most pivotal experiences, it doesn't necessarily have to be in sub two, but just with real estate investing, that really turned that light bulb on for you. What would you say that was?
I would say it's, just doing my first creative deal. I would say,
First creative deal.
with
Yeah.
yeah, because everyone is taught to buy houses traditionally, right? Go to the bank, get a loan to buy property, and just going through the sub two training and being mentored on the pace, that changed my mindset. And I realized that I can actually buy properties, with low money, almost no money down, and get a low interest rate. I'd have to, accommodate, or I'd have to, use the market rates, 6, 7, 8%. I can actually get a sub two loan and get 2, 3%, right?
Yeah.
So I would say a pivotal moment for me is realizing that I can actually buy property creatively and actually experiencing it. People talk about different things online. You have gurus out there talking about different things, but actually going through the process from A to B.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you, when I joined Sub 2, I was getting analysis paralysis, right? Spending a lot of time at pace and just absorbing all the content,
Yeah.
learning a lot, but not actually taking action and doing it.
Same.
But once
Same.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So once I actually started doing it and got my first deal, that completely changed my mindset. I'm like, wow, this is real. I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And just completing that first deal, I was able to do more deals through experience and started helping other people do more deals. And it actually became more fulfilling that way, helping other
Yeah.
people get the first deal and them getting that same pivotal moment that I had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And by the way, both Rich and Mitch give their time to help new people bring them up. And in fact, this I think is a good pivot point a little bit, but I talk about your Facebook group a little bit and kind of where people can find you guys because I really love what you guys do. And like you said, you took over the SoCal region for Sub 2. You guys have been leaders in the Sub 2 group for a long time. And you guys have a Facebook group, and again, a lot of your time is spent helping people underwrite, looking at deals, helping people get redirected on the right path, that kind of stuff. Talk about that a little bit.
you
Go
want to
ahead.
mention?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
Either one of you is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, we started that group. So like we said before, Mitch and I have been, leaders for Sub 2 over 5 years. And I remember how many we had in 2020, maybe 10 of us, maybe 15 of us.
Hmm.
And now I don't even know how many we have now. It's so many now.
Yeah.
But we just love helping people, man. That's something that is in our natural, personalities, just helping people, being goal givers,
Yeah.
and it's all natural what we do. Somebody calls us for help. I'll be honest. Sometimes I have to do a better job of saying, "Hey, you can't call me at 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning." You know what I mean? But I still take those phone calls. I still help
Yeah.
people. Just because um, just growing up, people around me did have the same resources that I had. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I
Yeah.
just love helping people and making sure that if they need something, if I can help, I want to help.
Yeah,
So
and Rich is true to his word. And by the way, Rich is extremely humble. Both these guys are highly intelligent, and they've been doing it for a while. Obviously, combined over 30 plus years. And look, once maybe you agree with this, it's just once you hit a certain level of success, it's just kind of natural, unless you're just like I don't know, like a narcissist or something. Like you just get to a certain point where you really want to help other people, right? Bring other people up and
Well, don't be so judgmental and start
no,
throwing
you're right.
name
But
calling.
still,
We all have our
still,
own journeys, you know.
yeah,
But I've always been the kind of person that likes to help people.
yeah,
I know how much like other people have helped me and
mhm,
you know how much of a relief it was sometimes knowing that help was there and
yeah,
so it's just like what comes around goes around, right? I mean,
yeah,
for the most part, put
yeah.
good out there and for the most part good comes back.
That's actually a good point because this is also when you talk about real estate, this is not a very big community. Like we all think it's a huge community. You talk to your average person about Pace Morby, they're gonna say who? Right? And he's very well known, by the way. I mean, he's got tons of I mean, he's out there. I mean, he's on with Grant Cardone. This guy is well
Not
known.
everybody knows who the heck Grant is either, though.
But that's what
Um,
I'm saying. It's right.
it's amazing that just goes to show you that it's part of creating your reality, right? We were
Mm-hmm,
drawn together.
mm-hmm,
Um, I mean, I talk about this. I've literally said out loud, like, I need to find better people to hang out with,
mm,
right? Like people who are doing more than what I'm doing now. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to sit in the bars and whine about things like, hey, if that's what they want to do, hey, kudos to you, but that's not my thing, right? You know, and there was other things that I wasn't interested in or whatever, but it's just we're really creating our life, but we don't realize what we're putting out there when we're
Yeah,
creating it
yeah.
sometimes.
Well, the more good you put out, the more it comes back. I fully believe in karma. And you want to talk about finding deals. What a great way to find deals by just let's put together a community and actually help people, right? I mean, if you think about Pace's community, I mean it's really that's what it is. It's a big group of people coming together, figuring this stuff out, how to be successful in this, right? Um, Forget about the creative finance side of it. That's really at the baseline of it. That's what it is. So Mitch, what about you? I'm gonna ask you the same question. Was there a point in your journey like where maybe the top one or two things that happened to you in this real estate investing journey where the light bulb just kind of clicked and you're like, oh wow, I can do this. I can do way more of this and be really successful. Was there something like that that happened to you that you can recall? Your top one or two events?
And I say this in all seriousness. I've been at this 25 years and I still consider myself a newbie because I'm learning
Yeah.
every day from people who've been doing it 3 days or 30 years. And I think we would all agree with this. What we were doing a year ago may not even be relevant anymore. So we're
Yeah.
always, matching ourselves to the market.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of that, early on, I learned, our business is very simple in some respects. There's basically five pillars: lead generation, underwriting, closing, dispo, and marketing. And what I tell new students is at this point, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I know Rich does the same. Try them all. All right. Try them
Yeah.
all, see what you're good at, what you love doing, and then dive deep on that and then
Yep.
outsource and JV with the others.
Yep.
And in terms of pivoting, I think there's probably five things that I've really learned that have helped me, and I share this with the people we work with. To touch on an earlier issue, it all starts with mindset.
Hmm.
If you believe you can, you're right. And if
Yep.
you believe you can't, you're right.
Yep.
Right?
I'd say the second most important thing is relationships, and I believe that is more important than transactions because this business, unless you're Pace Morby, you cannot do everything, nor should you.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah.
so, and you're not going to be good at everything, and that's important to understand what you're really really good at and focus on that.
Yeah.
I think structure is and risk matter more than price. And I think when we're working with sellers, that's important. And to touch on something Rich touched on earlier, time is our most valuable asset, and that's our most valuable capital, and it has to be deployed in the right manner. And
Yeah.
as we've all learned, as the deal gets bigger, you have to restrain your ego and your fear because it's new territory. And I would say Probably the last thing, and we've all dealt with this. Most people will not take step one unless they know step two. And so they sit there trying
Ooh,
to
that's a
figure out
good
step
point.
two, three, and four, analysis paralysis. And
Yeah.
then, someone like Pansy's come in and bought the deal. And as
Yeah.
we've learned is it's ready, fire, aim. Take step
Yeah.
one when you don't know step two,
Yeah.
and magically the universe brings it to you. It's a very scary thing. I call it the law of the inverse, but when you do that in faith, it really, really works out.
Yeah, I can say I've definitely had both things happening, on situations where, well, I don't know the next step, but I understand this one, bam, jump, right?
Well,
And figure it
yeah.
out sometimes. But other times I'm like, no, give me the little paper and give me all the dang steps that I'm looking at before I even say yes.
Yeah. Pansy's also really good, but Pansy's humble too. She's really good at networking. So she knows the who's, right? So even if she doesn't understand step two, that's what I would add to that is don't worry about the how, worry about the who, right? I got to tell you, that was one of my biggest struggles early on because I have that sort of engineering mind and I've got to know the steps. So it was a really big, we talk about mindset shift. That was a big part of my mindset shift is realizing it's not how this game works. You don't get to know all the steps before you do it. You got to kind of just jump, right? Obviously, we want to take calculated risks, but I don't know. Do you know anybody, Mitch or Rich, that has not lost money in real estate?
No,
Yeah,
everybody does. Yeah, everybody.
everybody. It's kind of we talk about paying your dues, like literally. You're,
Even I've lost money in real estate a
If
yeah,
few
you
times.
haven't
I
lost
mean,
money
they
as an
were
investor, you're not an
personal
investor.
yeah. You're.
transactions, but
Thank you.
what happened?
Oh no, but, Mitch was saying if you haven't lost money, you're not an investor. Yeah, you're not a real investor, right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
yeah
So I've
yeah
paid a little bit of
And
dues.
that's important. That's a mindset shift. And that's one of the things that I learned is, early on, oh my God, I lost money. I'm a failure. You got to look at it like
yeah
this is a learning opportunity. And you've got to frame it that way because you got into that situation because you didn't know something. And this is really a great opportunity. If you frame it that way, it keeps your mind positive and focused and looking for new opportunities. So I am refocusing failure is really, it's a learning opportunity to get better.
Yeah,
You're not going to learn
absolutely.
everything.
yeah. That's a
Um,
really good. That's an important point. That's
I
a huge
mean,
point.
and I know it's been said before, but you're going to pay for your education one way or another in life, right?
Mhm.
Like whether you try something new without knowing what you're doing and fall flat on your face, or you pay some money to have someone walk you through it all. Like there's many situations. Sometimes it's physical work, other times it's not. So
Yeah, you're gonna pay one way or another. Oh, sorry, Mitch. Were you gonna
No,
say something?
I want to tag on what Pans was saying, and that's really important, especially when you're a new person. You're so afraid of doing everything. What really helps is partnering with someone else who's three steps ahead of you. It takes a lot of the fear away. You know you're in good hands, and it's more exciting. And then you go off on your own and do your own thing, and
Yeah,
that's really what it's about. And that's what Rich and I like to do in our group.
yeah.
Mentor newer people. It's a lot of fun.
Can let's plug that really quick. I know we talked about your Facebook group. What's the Facebook group? The name of the Facebook group? Go ahead and give it a plug for me.
We've got two.
Okay.
SoCalJV.com is our main one. And then we have one for sub two students called Southern California Creative Finance.
Love it. And yeah, so guys, we'll have links to everything in the show notes for those that are watching after the fact. One other thing I'd add is, especially in the beginning, you don't ever want to get greedy, right? You want to avoid being greedy, especially, in this business where you're partnering with people, everybody's got to eat, right? So, I mean, I've literally watched people lose deals because they refuse to give up an additional 3, 4 grand. Like, it's just like, why, you know? And it really is. I always say you find out who you're working it with when money's really on the table
Or when adversity hits.
or when
That's when you see
adversity
what
hits.
people are
That's a good one.
making.
Yeah, it's a good point too. Definitely. So both of those, right? And so everybody's got to eat, and the people that are working with you got to trust you. And I watch people go out there and scam and burn bridges, and maybe not even intentionally, right? It's just the ego and it's greed, and they burn bridges and burn opportunities that they're not going to get it again necessarily, right? It's so we got to watch out for that. Maybe you guys can talk a little bit about what are Mitch, I'll start with you. What are you focused on right now?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
I want to touch on something you said earlier, which I think is really important, and I can relate to it. I've never been much of a wholesaler for a whole bunch of reasons. I think it's a great opportunity. It's not what I do. So what I've done is I've translated it into what I call consulting, which kind of bridges what I used to do.
Hmm.
So now instead of making an offer saying, "Hey, I'm your buyer, I'm buying this property," but if you really look on page 15, subsection 4, it says I can assign it.
Right.
Say, "Look, Justin, I'm not going to live in this house. I'm really not buying it. I'm going to assign it to someone else. Why don't we just cut all that out? And I'm going to work with you. We're going to agree on a fee. I'm going to put the deal together, structure it, and then find the buyer and get the deal done. And I'm working with you." And
Love
the
that.
beauty of that is now we're on the same page. We're aligned. I don't have to put a property in escrow and get, a 2-week inspection period and a 30-day close. The
Yeah.
pressure's off.
Yeah.
And so it's for me, it's a win-win for everybody. And I'm not
And you're being transparent. You're
I'm
being
being transparent, which for me is very important, and I'm not scrambling around like a 25-year-old.
right. Right. 100%. I mean, again, when I first got into doing wholesaling, it was the first part was the fear of constantly reaching out and talking to a bunch of sellers that really don't want to talk to you. That was the first, getting over that fear. Spent a lot of time practicing that. Got okay at that. I got fairly decent at it, but it was, I was watching people, the people that were around me, and I was watching people do things that and say things to people that just were plain and simple not true. And I, it didn't occur to me in the very, very beginning, but then as I started learning, you realize like everybody's gonna know, they're gonna find out what the true story is once it closes. Once they see the HUD and they see the closing document, they're gonna know. So why are you and I get the mentality there. It's like if it closes and I've gotten paid like whatever, they can be angry at me, they can be pissed at me. But now you've burnt that bridge. If there was an agent there, you're not gonna work with that agent again. You think they're gonna call you? Yeah. I mean
It's that old
it's
saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
yeah. Yeah, and I watched that happen many, many times, and I'm guilty of it. Now, I'm guilty to a certain degree. I always started off, especially when dealing with, there's a couple different ways to wholesale. There's actually probably more than a couple now, but direct to agent and direct to seller were the two primary methods. Direct to agent started getting really popular as a way of getting new people into it. It's a lot less sales pressure. It's more of a business to business type conversation and that whole thing. But when I started in direct to agent, it was I started off making sure that I was letting agents know, like, look, if if we're planning to wholesale this thing, I'm gonna tell you,
Right.
right? If that's what's going to happen with this deal, I'm going to let you know. And most agents, just about, I would say 99% of agents really appreciated that because then they're not like guessing, right? Is this guy actually the real buyer? Right. And so most of the deals, I would say straight up, like, look, I'm probably not going to be the buyer on this one. We're probably going to partner. We have one of our partners that's going to be more than likely interested in this. So we're probably going to assign that to our partner, right? If that's a problem, let's stop right now, right? And
Right.
yeah, it can be frustrating because a lot of, there's also a lot of bad information. Agents have a lot of bad information about the whole process, and part of that is due to knuckleheads, wasting everybody's time, but it's also just a bad information going around about wholesaling and about the whole process. So most agents would not, they'd say, "Yeah, I think we'll pass." But believe it or not, we've had agents call us back like, "Hey, you guys still interested in assigning?" this deal. Now, unfortunately, most of the especially early on, most of the contracts that we got under contract that as you learn, you get things under contract probably too high, or there was other things. I think Jesse Stanton talks about this, but 70% of wholesale deals fail for one reason or another,
100%.
right? And so now you're fighting for that, 30%. And out of that 30%, even then something could potentially go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so now, oh, go ahead, Pansy. Were you going to say something?
No, I'm
Oh,
just
sorry.
agreeing. Talk.
Um, well, so now, Mitch, I know you said you're focused on a little bit of everything. Are you doing multifamily as well right now?
Yeah, I'm still doing single family, and I'm transitioning into multifamily. And talk about mindset and intention. As I started
Yeah.
talking about that, literally three multifamily deals just fell into my lap. There's a
Yeah.
hotel in Northern California and two ground up development projects, a
Yeah.
multifamily in Los Angeles. It's just that can't be coincidence. It's just
No, nope.
Nice.
No.
I know. I feel the same way on some situations. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
when you get your
So,
mind in alignment with your desires and then believe it and then take action, it just the road unfolds for you.
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does. And not giving up either, guys. Like I can't tell you how many times I've watched people get frustrated and just like either completely stop or and it's okay. Look, if you gotta take a step back and stop and kind of recalibrate, that's fine, but don't give up. Come back. Like get a fresh set of eyes, a fresh perspective, and come back at it. If this is really what you want, obviously, if it's actually what you want. And obviously you got to go through the failures and the setbacks to make that decision, to finally come to that decision if this is really what you want. But don't let the difficulty and the discouragement of deals falling through, of, relationships, going their separate ways, all kinds of stuff happens, but don't let that stop you. I can tell you from my perspective, there's been plenty of times where I've been like, what the hell am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, and having to take a step back and be like, well, actually I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to let that stop me, right? And I give Pansy a lot of credit too. Pansy's definitely a trooper. We all have our stuff that we go through. But Pansy's kept going despite all of it. And that speaks volumes. And you guys too, right? You've gone through your own, everybody's got their struggles and you got to where you got to because you kept going and you kept learning. And the people like Mitch and Rich are the people you want to be hanging around with because they're one where you want to be, and two, they like to help people. They want to help you get to the next step, right? Um, so real quick, let's shift the conversation a little bit about the pace meetup. I'm super excited for this, especially for you guys. This is going to be super cool. I know this isn't your first rodeo or anything, but what's going on with this pace meetup? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I can take that. So, yeah, we started March 4th at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have over, as of last month, so recording December 19th. So, as of last month, November, we had over 1,000
Yeah,
RSVPs, over 1,000.
that's
So,
amazing.
a pretty big meta meetup. Pace Morby, Jamil, DMG, I think possibly Jerry Norton might be there as
He
well.
showed up to the one in Chicago. It was a big
Yeah.
surprise. I turned around. I'm like, Jerry, you
Jerry's
made
for sure
it.
coming to California. He's for sure coming to California. Come
Yeah,
Oh,
on
yeah.
now. Come on
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now.
It's
Yeah,
always
really
good
excited.
to see all of them.
Yeah.
It is. So
Now,
many
where can
awesome people.
oh, sorry, Pansy.
Go
Where
for it.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you I don't know if it's like a delay or something with
Maybe
me,
it is. It could
but
be.
yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to talk over you there.
Go
See,
for it.
Pansy was right. I talk over people. Um, so how can people get signed up for that?
Yeah, so you can go on creativenationtour.com. So that's where
Creative
Pace
Nation
is
Tour.
kind of doing a nationwide tour, doing 100 cities in 100 days. It's
Yeah.
actually more than that, but it sounds sexier when you say 100 cities, 100 days.
Yeah.
So, do
Yeah.
you guys have a venue? Are you guys the ones in charge for this?
Yeah, we're going
Oh,
to do it at the Westin in Long Beach. They've got a
The
giant
West.
ballroom, and
Yeah, beautiful hotel.
how
Yeah.
many
as of
people
last week,
are you
we've got
guys?
about
What?
1,300 RSVPs, and we're shooting for at least 1,500. And I would not be surprised if 2,000 people show
I was
up.
gonna say, put me down. I want to be there.
Yeah.
Justin, I guess I'm coming to visit again in
Well, we'll bring
March.
you out. Yeah, we'll bring you back out from if we're gonna do it, we gotta get signed up and be there for sure. What's the talk a little bit about the itinerary. Do you guys know like what that's gonna look like for people when they show up? Like is there, scheduled, activities, stuff like that that people are gonna be doing?
That's all in Prague. in progress right now, but we want
Okay.
to make it exciting. Mitch
Yeah.
brought up a good idea to make it similar to Tony Robbins events.
Yep.
Bring the energy, have high
Yep.
energy coming in, do some
Yep.
mindset stuff and
Yep.
play some music, that kind of stuff. So
Love it.
that's the kind of goal that we're looking for. So we're hoping to be able to have that kind of energy in these meetups. So we're going for that look. And also, as far as the commission tour, it's mostly like live calls and obviously networking. But you want people to be able to do deals
Yeah.
live at
Yeah,
the
let
meetup.
me give a pointer though. It's really difficult to make calls.
Yeah,
For one, okay, make sure they didn't do this. For one in the Chicago, and you know, things happen, right? They're
yeah,
doing their best, right? But they gave
Hmm.
us the addresses, and they were so small printed out. Like we could not even, we spent more time trying to decipher the information, blowing it up on our phones and stuff. And
Yeah.
then we realized, oh, I think this number went to this address and this person, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and and then by the time you dial and you can't hear because we're all enclosed and stuff. There's not a whole lot you can do. I'm just saying some pointers, like just be prepared. Obviously, there's going to be hiccups, and if
Yeah.
I'm there, I'm more than happy to help in any way if I can.
Great.
So
yeah.
We've
That's
got a
great.
sign up sheet for volunteers. We'd love it.
yeah, absolutely. I would love to come help. Justin too. Look,
Yeah.
Justin,
We
I
we
just signed
love
you up. You
we
have
love
two
both of you.
volunteers
Oh,
right
we'll
now.
no, we'll do it if we can volunteer and help
Do you
with
have
you guys.
other
That'd be
people
amazing.
working with you on it right now?
Yeah, we've got a list of volunteers, but we need more because, like Rich said, we're getting a stage, we're getting a full PA system, we have a
Yeah.
videographer crew, we're going to be live streaming this.
Love it.
We're going
Perfect.
big on
Send
this.
over information, what you still need, who you still need, or whatever. Maybe I
Yeah.
can help in some way. Justin
Beautiful.
and I.
Oh, we'll put the word out there for sure. Yeah, that you
Yeah.
guys need volunteers for this for sure. No, I
Awesome.
think it's going to be great. And I know from previous Pace meetups, Pace does a great job of, look, everybody wants to meet him, right? Now he can't spend 20 minutes with each person having a private conversation with each person, but he does a pretty darn good job of saying hello to everybody and then getting up on stage and delivering value to everybody like he always does. So he's a master at that, but I think it's gonna be again, it's Pace and Jamil are pretty much guaranteed to be there. Pace and Jamil, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, super, super cool. And I know Jamil's story is so interesting, but I know Jamil's sort of shifted his focus to a certain extent, on a lot of, it's mindset, but it's more like spiritual,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
mindset. And I think that's great, man. I think Jamil, again, look at a guy like Jamil and even Pace too. You're successful, but the problems don't stop, right? It's not like you get successful and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm gonna kick my shoes off, and you can obviously do
Life
that a
is
little
just
bit.
grand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do that a little bit, but the problems don't stop. Jamil's gone through stuff, has had some relationship stuff, and he's been through the ringer. Both him and Pace, we talk about losing money. Both him and Pace lost nearly $1 million to one of Grant's people. I'm gonna put that on
Is
the down
it?
low. Well,
Oh,
that's what I've heard. Actually, I'm not even gonna say that. I'll say
yeah.
alleged.
Don't
I'll
say
say
anything that
allegedly.
isn't for a
Yeah.
fact. I
I'll
don't like
say
saying
allegedly.
that.
They've talked about it, but allegedly. But again, like, these guys, you get successful, and it's kind of also like you get a target on your back a little bit too, right? Not kind of, you do get a target on your back, but
Well, word gets around fast,
yeah,
like it's a small world, but at the same time, it's big. There's
yeah,
so many different investor groups and whatnot, but eventually you start to see the intertwining of the different groups and whatnot.
yeah,
But it does it, you piss somebody off, and depending on who it is, they're gonna make sure people know who the heck you are one way or another.
yeah,
Like for people's own good too, usually. But sometimes I feel like some people can throw out the wrong thing out there, just because a partnership didn't necessarily work or whatever.
mhm,
Um, there's a million and one reasons, right? And not everybody's going to get along the entire time. And sometimes you got to part ways,
Yeah.
for reasons like they could be an awesome person, right? But
Mm.
something clashes with you, right? And you're like, I'd rather not. Or this is my opportunity to get out of this right now. It
Yeah.
was, been fun. Peace.
Well, I don't think, and again, you start to get successful, but you get successful by in part, like we talked about, not giving up, but being around the right people. But in that journey to finding that place in real estate where you can be successful in real estate, you're going to have had some relationships fall apart. It's just the natural course of things. You're going to have had some deals, many deals fall through. All of these things are going to happen. But once you reach that point of being successful, people all of a sudden now want to learn, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Right? Before, your family and friends are looking at you like you're crazy because you're trying to do real estate investing and like, you knucklehead, what are you doing? You got a good job. What are you doing that for? Right? But then all of a sudden you be successful and now everybody wants to know how'd you do it and you're a genius, right? But you do get a target on your back in a sense because, people can get jealous of your success, right? I hear, it's crazy to me, but it still happens with Pace. Like, this
Mm.
guy gives his energy, his time. He's built a whole community to help people, and he still gives a ton of his time to that and is dedicated to that. And still, you get hate. It's just the way it is, right? It's the way of the world. So,
Just don't look over there.
no, don't look over it, and don't let that stop you. It's gonna have, it's a part of the deal, but don't let it stop you, right? That's what all that stuff. And I tell Pansy this too, that all of that stuff, you're on your path, you've got your focus, you know what you want. All of that other stuff is just there to take you off your game. That's all it's there for. So don't look at it. I'll go with this. So Mitch, I'll ask you first, but what's the one best piece of advice you got throughout this whole journey you've been on? Do you think of maybe one or two best pieces of advice that you've gotten?
Yeah, I would say it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Believe in yourself and
Yeah,
believe you can.
I believe you can.
It
Yeah,
really,
whether
that's
you,
the foundation. Because if you don't, then you're never going to do a deal.
yeah, that's 100% true. So what, and again, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right, is sort of the idea, right? Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. And how about you, Rich? What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice that you've got during this journey?
It's very simple. Three words: do it now. Do it now. Take action. Don't wait around. Trying to absorb all this information. Like we said earlier, trying to learn step two and three before even taking action in step one.
Yeah.
Just do it now. I've been in rooms where there are people that are more successful than me, but no offense, they're really dumb. Like they're really dumb. But what they're really dumb. I'm like, how did you make all that money?
How did
Like
you get
you're not
to?
that smart, you know. But the truth
Yeah.
is, they took action. They took
They just
action.
did it. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yep.
that's all it is. Just take action
100%.
and keep taking action. And of course, like we said earlier, there's no failures. You're learning your way up, right? So just take action. Just do it. Do it now, and don't delay it. Don't write it down. Don't say, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Just do it now.
Do it
Just get it
right
done
now. Yeah,
right
it's
now.
speaking of which, oh,
Yeah, delegate if you have to. If you have too much going on, delegate. Do whatever you can to get the action started ASAP. And just do it now, man. Just do it now. Simple as that. Do it now.
so have you read the book what's it? It's eat that frog. It's something like that, or eat the frog. Have you ever heard of
No,
that book? I'll find out the actual name. I'll put it in the description, but it talks exactly about that. It's eat a frog daily. It's something like that, right? The idea is you start your day eating that first frog. But eating a frog sounds disgusting, right? It's like eat a frog. What are you talking about? It's talking about those things that you are avoiding that you don't want to do that suck, right? But if you start your day and just hit one of those things right away, it sets the stage for the rest of the day. Is essentially, it's one of the best books I've read about exactly what you're talking about, Rich. Just do it and do it now. Don't give yourself the excuse, right?
I
Get
was having moments like that today. I found
yeah,
myself kind
every
of
day.
like being slow and
Yeah,
like, why am I moving so slow? And,
yeah,
you know,
every day.
Are you talking to me about me? Are you
No,
saying
no.
everything? Or
That'd be funny if
no,
I
what?
was. I was actually talking about me, but
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't always have this issue, but still, I just
okay.
kept like correcting myself,
Mhm.
right? Like you're kind of thinking about what's doing, but right here, you need to do this right now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Get it done. Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this right now.
But it also feels good. It feels so good once you mark that off your list, man. It's one of the best feelings, right? Because
Yep.
you know, like you leave something on your to-do list, it's there nagging at you. Like, why leave that? Just especially if it's stuff that you can tackle like today, right now. Pace always says if you have a problem that can be solved and it can be solved with money, it's not really a problem, right? So especially the problems that you're dealing with early on, a lot of them can't be handled with money. So you got to figure it out and you got to do it. You got to tackle them any way that you can. Well, look, I know we're getting towards the end of this. We have some folks on the call with us right now that joined the Zoom. I'll just stop real quick, but if you guys who are on here have questions for Mitch and Richard, you got a deal, you got a problem, maybe they can help answer. We don't have a ton of time left. We got probably about maybe 8, 9 minutes. But if you guys got questions, go ahead and fire them away. Just raise your hand and we'll pull you up here and you can ask Mitch or Rich a question if you got it. Um, we're not really fielding questions in the chat. I guess if you had one in the chat, we could bring it up too, but just let us know if you got a question. Um, in the meantime, so I kind of want to get your thoughts about this. And this comes down to just dealing with sellers, agents, dealing with properties. We were looking at an RV park, and I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but we were looking at an RV park. It's 85 pads, right? Pretty big, decent sized RV park. They were asking for a pretty large purchase price. So we looked at we asked them for their financials and we started looking at the financials. We noticed there's some serious discrepancies on the financials that they gave us,
Always.
right? Always, right?
Always.
And so we had some questions, obviously. Now, if we take them at their word and just go based on the T12 that they gave us, actually it was a T7, wasn't even a T12. And for those who don't know what a T7 is, we're talking about the trailing 12 months. So the trailing 12 months of financials, right? So the last 12 months of financial statements, income and expenses, basically. And so you have the T12, they gave us a T7, so it was only 7 months. And so we had questions and we fielded our questions, we sent our questions to them. And we started to, long story short, we started to, one, they didn't answer the questions. They were, you know, not answering anything because they kept kind of like, trying to distract from the questions that we have. The answer we got back to our questions was, hey, submit an LOI, submit an LOI, submit an LOI. Okay. Now I get that to a certain degree, to some degree. But my response to that, I'm not going to submit an LOI to you. It's going to be worthless. Why would I submit an LOI to you before I'm confident of our numbers, right? Before I'm at least relatively confident we know where we need to be, right? It's just going to waste everybody's time. So long story short, we started feeling rushed. They weren't answering our questions. And my response to that event, ultimately the response was stop talking to them. It's a waste of time. We're wasting our time. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. If you're dealing with a property or you're dealing with a situation where you feel like you're getting rushed, whether it's lending or buying or anything else, if you're getting rushed, there might be even a legitimate reason. I would say take a serious, for me, that's when I slow things down. That's how I start functioning now, is like if I feel like I'm getting rushed, the first part of it, not really answering our questions until we submit a letter of intent. That was kind of the first red flag. But like getting rushed, how do you guys feel about that? Like if you start getting rushed on a deal by a seller, especially on a big deal, like the larger, I would understand sort of on a single family, but you start getting into the larger deals and you're getting rushed. Like for example, they were asking us for a 15-day due diligence period. I'm like, there's no way, guys. Are you kidding me? I'm like, this isn't a single family home. You guys are selling a business and there's discrepancies in your financials.
Yeah.
right? What are your
Well,
guys' thoughts
things
about
are
that?
gonna happen,
Yeah.
and all you can do is use your own discernment. And like I told you, I'm like, I wouldn't waste my time.
Yeah, no,
They're not
and you were
serious.
right. You were 100% right, but I'm curious, and I know the answer is simple, like it's a waste of time, but like, as you deal with more and more deals, what is it? Is there a point where, you start feeling rushed and you're just like we're done, or is it just like let's pull the reins back and slow everything way down? That's how I get personally, right? I don't
Yeah.
know how you guys feel about that, but
Yeah, so for that deal that you're talking about, Justin, initially before you got deep into like the 15-day diligence period, that's obviously too low. But what I would have done is, I would have, a lot of people, what I've seen is a lot of people don't want to waste time answering questions until they know that you're serious. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's one thing that I've seen, right?
right,
So me personally, I would still submit an LOI when I feel like submitting one. I'm not gonna rush, but when I feel like I've did all my research and I'm going to submit LOI based on the information that I have while still being skeptical on those
right,
numbers. So
right,
it's not going to come at the asking price. It's going to come at, lower than asking price. Why? Because I'm skeptical. I'm
right,
skeptical. Answering
right,
these questions that I have. So
right,
here's the offer that I have based on the financials that you gave, which doesn't seem right. There's
yeah,
some discrepancies. If you answer these questions, maybe I bump my price back up.
yeah,
And I'll also counter in my LOI. I want a 90-day diligence period or a six
yeah,
month diligence period, whatever it is.
yeah,
So I would submit LOI based on my needs, and obviously have a contingency where if I don't get the information I need by the end of the period, then I can back out.
yeah.
So to answer your question, in that situation, I would still submit an LOI, but based on my comfortability and my risk tolerance. You know.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. No, and there's legitimate reasons. Look, if I'm selling a property or I'm selling something, yeah, I want to know the person's not screwing me around. Is actually serious about buying it before I spend a whole bunch of time answering a ton of questions. So that's why I said I kind of understand from the perspective of, hey, send me an LOI. But the issue was we put together just a very, I mean, we actually did send them an LOI, but it was like I said, it was very basic, and it was with a lot of conditions, right? Hey, this is conditional upon all of this
Yeah.
happening, right? Um, and so, and again, instead of answering those questions, instead of responding with "Thank you for the LOI," here's the answers to your questions, here's the additional financial. It was more negotiating price. I'm like, hey, we're not negotiating price yet,
Right.
okay? Like, we're not even there yet. You asked for an LOI, I sent it. Answer my questions. So I don't know. I would say is and the reason I'm bringing this out, I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. And for me, it's like I don't like feeling rushed. And again, if you guys are watching and you're lending or you're buying or any of that stuff, you start feeling like, especially on the lending side too. I know we're kind of getting a little off topic, but like, man, if somebody comes to you, you don't really have a relationship with them. They say they need the money in 5 days. Like, whoa, pump the brakes,
Yeah.
right? And so that's again where we come down to it comes down to relationships. You gotta borrow the money, or you gotta have those relationships before you need the money, not the day of, right?
Right.
So, all right,
Yeah, so
guys. Well,
if you felt lost in that situation, it also depends on the underlying factors as to why they're selling. Maybe a foreclosure, maybe
sure.
that could be a true reason for wanting to sell quickly.
Yeah,
But if there's no underlying issue like foreclosure or tax auction or anything like that,
yeah,
and they're just rushing just to get a deal done, then
yeah,
yes, that'd be a red flag, right, for that deal
yeah,
because it seems like they're hiding stuff, like you said.
yeah,
So I'll probably back off on that deal,
yeah,
just because they're not asking questions and rushing you for no reason. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So.
And just a little bit of it. The response, some of the responses we got back from and this person we were talking to was the seller's assistant. That's what they called themselves. We're pretty unprofessional. There's a couple responses we got that were
They're
pretty
the tough
unprofessional.
guy. They're the ones.
Yeah. But again, I think you're right. That's actually a good point. Sometimes there's legitimate reasons for things to be rushed. I know in real estate, it's like you like you said, you tack it, do it now. Money loves speed. We've heard all these things, right? So there is a time factor. It's not that we shouldn't get the work done and do it as quickly as we can. My point is like, yeah, if you're starting to feel like you're really getting rushed, because again, they want you to stop thinking, right? They want you to just do it and stop thinking and stop using your logic. So be careful of that. That's one of my warnings. especially from some of these recent deals that where we felt that way. It was, and I'm very grateful that we did exactly what you said, Rich. We just kind of pulled back, right? And just stopped. So that's one of my pieces of advice for folks who are watching anyway. But listen, guys, I know we're at the end here. It doesn't look like we got oh, actually we did get a question in the chat. So question for Mitch and Rich. Walk me through your last acquisition. What red flag almost killed it? And how'd you spot it early? Due diligence, war stories reveal systems, not signals. I love that, man. That was from Moses.
Yeah, I can touch on that one. I'm trying to think of a red flag though from the last acquisition. Well, we're closing on the property in La Jolla. It's been over a month since the close date, so it's been taking a lot of time right now. But that's our facility in La Jolla, and it's going very well. I'm just waiting to close. We're on the lender right now. Red flags that we spotted. I think the only thing that we spotted, well, not really red flag, is that there's no AC. It's just like, a house without AC. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
not really a red flag. It's just something that's missing that we want in the house. So it's not really a red flag. Um, so there weren't really any red flags with that deal specifically. But
Hmm.
I've done a lot of deals, right? So I know what to look for. As far as due diligence, make sure the title report is good. Make sure we do an inspection report before we close on the property.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
You're paying people so like on each deal now for a wholesale deal before you've gotten to the closing table, are you're paying folks to go do an inspection, you're paying an inspector to go actually do a full report on the property?
Yeah, if we're
Yeah,
buying the
yeah.
property for ourselves, right, we'll pay
Oh,
for
okay. Yeah,
inspection
yeah.
report.
Okay.
We're holding this property, right? But if we're
Right, right, right.
wholesaling, we won't pay for an inspection report. We'll ask
Right.
the buyer to pay for an inspection report,
Okay.
and then we'll ask them to give us a copy so that if they decide not to buy it, then we can use that same inspection report to show other buyers, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, we always get an inspection report for property that we're buying specifically.
Yeah.
As far as for wholesaling, usually we don't order inspection reports. Obviously, we do a title report, but we won't order one ourselves. We just
Right.
have to buy order one.
Right. You have the buyer do it for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I
One,
just wanted to make that distinction because you guys are buying it to actually hold it yourselves as opposed to wholesaling it, right? Yeah. No, that was a
yeah,
good question, Moses. Actually, a really good question.
yeah.
Okay, real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to touch on a little bit. With creative
Hmm.
finance, the red flags that I look for
Hmm.
is, creative finance. You want to make sure that the seller is cooperating with you. If we're doing a
Hmm.
subject to deal, for example, because subject to deal is a long term relationship, believe it or not, with that seller, right?
Yeah.
Because once you take over that mortgage for the life of that loan, you must maintain a relationship with that seller, and it must be
Yep.
positive. Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
one red flag I look for with creative finance deals is, will the seller have a good relationship with me? Does that seller have good core values? Is that seller going to try to go behind my back and talk to the bank and try to do on sale calls? Is that seller going to try to damage the property? Things like
Yeah.
that. So those are the things I look for when it comes to creative finance deals. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, again, Pace says it also kind of like this, like subject to deals, creative deals, especially a subject to deal, you're getting into a marriage with that seller.
yeah, 100%.
That's a good way to put it. And that's really what it is. Like my first deal, the one that I bought in Austin, is a subject to your deal, the deal that you found, the condo in Austin. I actually bought it from Rich.
Hmm,
Was
nice.
was a subject to deal, and I have to know the seller or the original owner. I've got to know who she is. I've got to be in communication with her. We got to do all the right things. Had to get insurance within the first couple of months of acquiring the property, get the right insurance in place to not trigger due on sale.
Yeah,
A lot of things, right? But you learn this stuff by actually going through the pro. That was probably one of my biggest aha moments was actually going through that side of the process. Because wholesaling a deal is one thing, but buying is a completely different, whole different process. I mean, it's some there's some overlap. Excuse me, there's
right.
some overlap, but it really is a different process. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
100%.
All right, guys. Well, look, I know we're at the end here. I really appreciate both you jumping on. Let's give a plug one more time. Give us the Facebook group names and the name of the sign up page for Pace's Meetup one more time.
Creative Nation Tour, and we've also got SoCalJV.com.
Hmm.
Oh, sorry,
And
SoCalJBMeetup.com. Sorry,
they're both
SoCalJBMeetup.com.
Oh,
Also,
SoCal. Got.
Louis, you had a question? I saw your hand raised. I don't know if you
Oh
had time
yeah,
for a
that's
question.
right.
Hey,
I did.
Louis
Yeah.
had a question.
Yeah. Good call.
I didn't have a question, but I just want to um, say that, you know, thank Pace for this group because Mitch and Richard were my first JB partners.
Oh, love it.
At the time, I didn't know what to do with that deal.
Yeah.
Rich and Mitch came through so well.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
That
it.
story came out in Pace's.
I
I
love
Love
want
it.
our community, man.
No,
That's
that's great. I would love to. If we had some more time, I would love to hear that story. But well, maybe give us just a second. What did that look like for you? What was
yeah, we'll send this to Pace.
yeah. I would love to, honestly, man, I would love to hear a little bit about that story. And well, it's kind of up to you guys. If you guys got a few more minutes, I want to be respectful of Mitch and Rich's time. If you got a few minutes, I'd like to hear that story a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
Okay. Let's talk. Let's talk. Tell me about it. What went down? How did it all kind of
So
go down?
it was a few years ago. My partner and I were just cold calling people.
Mm-hmm.
Found out this person wanted to sell a gas station and some properties
Mm-hmm.
all together, and yeah, I was learning in the process of learning how to comp properties, but a gas station, I didn't know anything. So
Yeah.
I reached out to the group. Uh, Richard, sent me a direct message, and they took it on. Um, Actually, Mitch was talking to the seller, and he came up with this so creative deal that it just blew my mind. So, gentlemen, if you want to take over that, what
So they
happened?
engineered it to make,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
everything worked out. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
correct. Yeah, and for these two gentlemen, this is the reason why I'm here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's
Thank you. It's
amazing.
kind of you to say that.
That's a good story, man. Gas station. I mean, again, it's like you're buying a business at that point, right? So, yeah, that's good, man. So, Mitch, really quick, because you talked about you got really creative with it. Do you have like a maybe a process you can share a little bit about, like how you kind of come up with some of these creative ideas, or is it just sort of from the experience obviously it's from the experience you've gotten over the years, but is there kind of a way you look at deals that maybe is different than your average bear that you could share with people about maybe how they can look at a deal and
Mhm.
see maybe more of the creative angles on it? Or is
That's a
it just
great.
kind of you just kind of need to do it and learn the process?
Some of it is just on the fly. I just look at it and these ideas come to me. But
Yeah.
if I had to put a science to it, and people have heard me say this, I always like to reverse engineer things. So I'll look at a deal and I always look at who's the end buyer, what's the exit strategy, and how are they going to win? And then I work backwards.
Ooh, I
But I
like
always
that.
start with, I guess I'll look at it this way. When I'm talking to a seller, I always start with, is it a need to sell or a want to sell? And, that's important. And then I
Mhm.
find out what is their pain, what is their
Yeah.
motivation.
Yeah.
So I look at that. I look at the investor. What is their need? What is their want? If there's an agent, and then we reverse engineer it because whoever the ultimate buyer is, whether it's me, whether it's Rich, whether it's a homeowner or another investor, it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, we're wasting our time on step one. So we reverse engineer it and come up with a win-win that works for everybody. And
Whoa, I
that's
like
how we
that.
have to do it. And sometimes for me, the ideas just come. But that's what we do. We always start with, we've talked about this. The first conversation with a seller is never about numbers. It's not about structure. It's just about building rapport, understanding what their pain points are, and really collecting information. My first calls with sellers are usually 75% them talking and me asking questions.
Yeah.
And then I go back and kind of process it and then come back with them with some anywhere from 1 to 3 different ideas. And I see which one resonates. And whichever one resonates, then we go back and we fine tune it so that it is a win for everybody.
Yeah. That's a really good. I like that a lot. Well, Moses or Lewis, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you sharing the story and coming up.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. All right, guys. Well, we are at the end of the show. Mitch and Rich, thank you so much, guys, for coming on here. This is pretty awesome. And for folks who are watching this after the fact, we're gonna have all the links and everything in the description, so don't worry. And yeah, I'd love to have you guys back on again, do this again. But I really appreciate you both. Pansy, you got
Yeah, thank
anything?
you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah,
Happy
Merry Christmas.
holidays, all of that
Thank
good
you for
stuff.
the opportunity, everyone. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you guys for what you do, man. Really. You've helped a lot of people, and it needs to be shared that, just like with Pace helps a lot of people. You guys are doing the same thing. You guys have been leaders in SoCal for a long time. SoCal's not an easy market. In fact, being in SoCal forces you in a lot of ways to go outside of California. And that's could be a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it's all a part of it. But you
We'll
guys have
see
helped a
you
lot of
guys
people.
in March, huh?
Yeah.
March.
That's right, March 4th. We will sign up as volunteers, actually. I really would
Yeah,
like to do that.
absolutely.
I
Love
would like
that.
to do
Love
that.
that.
See you
Awesome.
guys.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign us out. This is Friends with Benefits podcast. Thank you guys for showing up and for all of you who've been supporting us. If you're a first time watcher, like and subscribe. It really helps us to keep the show going and get good content out and keep helping and bringing value. So like and subscribe,
Click
and we
that
will
button right now.
press
Subscribe
the
right
button.
There you
now. Do
go.
it now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. All
See
right, we're
you
out of here.
maybe after the holiday there.
Yeah, have a
Rich and I.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you want, whatever it is.
Whatever you
Happy,
celebrate.
Yes.
happy holidays. I'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend as well. See you guys.